Hello, welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. We have 3 stories for you today. No pass? No entry. We need that number first? Okay then. And okay, eat fresh then. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Alright, let's get started. Our first story. No pass? No entry. This happened quite a few years ago. I started a new job in IT support. After a couple of weeks of training and orientation, I was put on my first early shift. IT support was always the first in the building to make sure all the systems were good before the working day started, so I was given my own key to the front door to unlock the building. The entrance had a kind of airlock system. The outer door was unlocked, but then there was another automatic door that needed a swipe card to open it. Everything was fine for the first few days. I entered the building and got on with my work. Then, on this particular morning, as I unlocked the door, the head of HR walked up behind me. I recognized him as he had sat in on my job interview. I said, "Good morning," swiped my card, and walked in. He followed me. As soon as we were in the building, he pulled me up and told me I shouldn't have let him in without him swiping his pass. His argument was that he might have been fired the day before and might have been trespassing. The swipe card system was not used to monitor people's work hours or anything like that. I apologized profusely, and he said he'd let it go this time as I was new. Fast forward 2 weeks, I'm unlocking the door, and a complete stranger walks up behind me and tries to follow me in. I turn around and ask him to use his pass. He says he has forgotten it. I say, "Then I can't let you in." Then he drops the bombshell. "But I'm the CEO." I apologize and say, "Sorry, I only have your word for that, and I'm under strict instructions from the head of HR not to let anybody in without a pass on the pain of disciplinary action." He got quite angry and said again that he was the CEO. I apologized again but left him in the airlock with a face like thunder and heard him shout something like, "I'll have your job for this," as I walked away. Later that day, I got a phone call from the head of HR. I thought he was going to bollock me, but instead, he said that I did the right thing, and he was going to get the CEO to apologize to me. I did get a short email to that effect later in the day. Our next story. Better than free beer. I worked at a factory, and they let me do some of the reports and talk to people who had minor issues. Now, because of my role in the company, they watched everything I did with a microscope. I could have stolen stuff like crazy, but I've got enough of my own. One night, a middle management type says that some people didn't show up and they need me at a station. I tell him that I'm still doing reports, that I'll finish them, and then I'll be back for a station assignment. He tells me, "We need to get this number first, then you can worry about whatever you were doing." He sticks me at a station that is pretty much out of the way for meals and bathroom breaks, and then the person taking my work to be processed leaves without telling anyone. Cue malicious compliance. I worked pretty hard to see how much shit I could leave them to work through. I worked the entire night like that and left a mountain to be processed, and none of the reports were done. They never asked me to get on a station before reports were posted, and I never heard anything about the reports that weren't posted that night. And our last story. Okay, eat fresh then. Long-time lurker and first-time poster on this sub. This took place several years ago, back when I used to work at Subway. The details are a bit fuzzy, but I do remember the main parts. Let's just say the coworkers sucked and the customers sucked even more. On this fine night, we were extra busy. My coworker and I were busting our asses off the entire night. We finally died down when an older gentleman walked in. By this point, we had pretty much run low on product, so we had to go back into the walk-in and restock. The things we had to restock were our oven-roasted chicken strips and flatbreads. So, I had my coworker restock while I took care of the customer. He walked up, and you could just feel the entitlement radiating off of him. Me, "Hi, welcome to." Customer, "I'll have a foot long of oven-roasted chicken on the wheat flatbread." Me, "Okie dokie, just to let you know our chicken isn't quite ready." Customer, "I don't care, just make it." Me. So, I went ahead and grabbed the oven-roasted chicken that was still somewhat frozen and put it in a paper container to heat up, but before I could put it in, the man snapped at me. Customer, "No. I don't want it." Me, "But, sir, the..." Customer, "I don't care, make it how I want it." I realized at this point that there was no point in trying to talk to him, so I maliciously complied. I made his sandwich exactly how he wanted it, a foot long of frozen oven roasted chicken strips on a partially frozen wheat flatbread. When all this took place, my coworker was eavesdropping and was completely dumbfounded by the logic of the customer. She was afraid I'd get fired, but I reassured her that wasn't going to happen because 1. We were desperate for workers, and I was the most experienced one. 2. I tried to explain to the guy, but he kept interrupting me. 3. I made it exactly how he wanted it. I never saw that customer again, so I hope he learned a valuable lesson. An entitled customer told me to make his sandwich how he wanted it and got a frozen sandwich. Well, that's all for this video. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next one.